After a 30-year winter of sectarian violence, Northern Ireland today has the promise of a springtime of peace. The agreement that has emerged from the Northern Ireland peace talks opens the way for the people there to build a society based on enduring peace, justice, and equality.
Nearly 25 years ago, President Bill Clinton announced the signing of the Good Friday Agreement, bringing an end to the 3 decades of fighting in Northern Ireland known as the Troubles. Earlier this week, the current president, Joe Biden, announced plans to visit his ancestral home of Ireland next month to officially mark the 25th anniversary of the peace deal. But before then, his Irish counterpart, Taoiseach Leah Varadkar, is here in the U.S. for a 3-day trip of his own. And the leader of Ireland joins us now. I know this is a bit of a tradition for this visit, but it was interrupted by COVID. Tell us, if you can, what you hope to accomplish this time around.
Yeah, so it's a tradition that goes back more than 20 years to Tip O'Neill and Ronald Reagan, where we have the opportunity to visit the White House on St. Patrick's Day and do some events around that. And it's particularly relevant this year because it's 25 years since the Good Friday Agreement, which brought peace to Ireland and set up the institutions in Northern Ireland that involve power sharing and North-South cooperation as well. Unfortunately, those institutions themselves aren't up and running at the moment, but we do have peace on our island, and the last 25 years have made the country a lot better place as a result of that. And in part, that was because of American leadership. I don't think those Good Friday Accords would have been agreed had it not been for the interest of the American political system and both parties. And part of my reason for being here this time is to thank you for that, and thank you for your interest and commitment to my country.
If you could talk a little more about American leadership, especially today on a global scale, partnerships between America and its European counterparts, and the shared values, are they more significant today in some ways, given what we're seeing in Eastern Europe?
Well, I think for Ireland it's been hugely important because of the Irish American diaspora that is in America, and those links that we have that are familial, they're cultural, very strong economic links now going in both ways. Believe it or not, Ireland is now the 9th biggest investor in the US, with 100,000 Americans working for Irish-owned firms. But to answer your question about values, I think they are more important than ever. We're facing a war in Europe. Ukraine has been invaded. And the basic values that we as Irish people, Americans, Europeans share, which is a belief in democracy, a belief in freedom, a belief in countries being able to determine their own future, a belief in the rule of law, that is now under threat again in Europe. And the US in the last century stood up against fascism and the Nazis, led the fight back against communism, helped us to bring down the Berlin Wall and reunify Europe. And now those values are being attacked again. And we're seeing American leadership again working with Europe and other parts of the free world to try and stop this terrible war in Ukraine. And we're grateful for that. America is a force for good in the world. You don't get everything right, but by and large, you're a force for good in the world. And when you withdraw from the world, it becomes a more dangerous place. So we're very grateful to the level of support that the US has provided for Ukraine.
Taoiseach, as just discussed, the current president, President Biden, has announced his intention to visit Ireland and Northern Ireland in a few weeks' time to mark the 25th anniversary of the Good Friday Accords. Please tell us a little bit about what that will mean to you and to your country to have the president there, but also particularly this president, who misses no opportunity to discuss how proud he is of his own Irish-American heritage.
Yeah, so we're really looking forward to the visit. The dates haven't been confirmed as of yet, but any time an American president comes to Ireland, we roll out the red carpet and we make sure that it's that he gets a very, very good welcome. But this is going to be a particularly special one because President Biden is so clear and so articulate about the fact that he sees himself as an Irishman. In many ways, it's going to be a homecoming, not just an official visit. So really looking forward to that, and looking forward, people all over the country, I think, are going to be looking forward to the visit. So don't know the details just yet, but it's going to be really good, I think.
The president had said previously that U.S. officials had signaled that he wouldn't be able to travel until some of the details with Brexit were ironed out. It seems like that has been done. Give us a sense now as to exactly what has happened that could make this trip possible.
Yes, so we are going to mark 25 years since the Good Friday Agreement, and no matter what, that's worth celebrating. It's brought peace and greater prosperity and equality to our island, north and south. When it comes to Brexit, as you know, the UK left the European Union. That caused a lot of complications for us, particularly in Northern Ireland, and we have now a new revised agreement between the British government and the European Commission called the Windsor Framework, and I think that helps to improve relations again between Ireland and Britain, which is important to us, our nearest neighbour, and also between Ireland and the European Union, because we have a lot of things to deal with, whether it's inflation or the energy crisis or the war in Ukraine. It's best that we're all working together. So it hasn't yet been accepted by all 5 parties in Northern Ireland, but hopefully it's going in the right direction.
Taoiseach of Ireland, Leo Varadkar, thank you so much for coming on the show this morning. We really look forward to hearing about all the meetings. Thank you very much. John